Testing.
Kick us off.
Yes, now.
What a glorious evening in Michigan. A chance to enjoy the music and lift your hearts with song. And may this wonderful evening stay with you for many days to come. My name is Hugh Batley. I'm one of our MCs tonight, and
My name is Singing Sam Colgrove, Ukulele King.
thank you very much. And now, to get things started, we'd like to introduce Chris Emerick, the mayor of Evart.
Madam Mayor. So, Madam Mayor was born and raised here. This is a lovely little town. If you have had the chance to get around, the bike paths, the community, the restaurants are fine. You can just look at the parks and enjoy this. That's part of her effort here. She's been a mayor through the pandemic. And I think all of us can just recognize how difficult that probably was. No easy piece of cake. So, she's been the mayor for 3 years. She's seen plenty of growth and wants it to continue. And now she will talk about herself. Madam Mayor.
I'm going to talk about my lovely little town here. There we go. Can you hear me now? There we go. Now you can. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here tonight and just welcome you all to our lovely city here. On behalf of the city, I would like to welcome everyone because it means so much to us that you continue to have the Dulcimer Fest here in our town. As I thought about what I wanted to say tonight, it hit me that this is the 60th anniversary of the Dulcimer Fest. And there has been so much hard work that has gone into this over the years, from the artisans and the musicians and the organizing committees. What this means to us is not just a music fest here in Evart. This means an opportunity for fellowship, for camaraderie, not just amongst ourselves here, but with people from all over the United States. You know, it's not just Evart folks that come here for the festival. We have people from all over Michigan. I just met a gentleman backstage from New York. We appreciate that more than y'all could ever imagine, being able to meet new people and be able to show you what our little town here has to offer. So, I would like to say again, thank you to everyone, the volunteers, the audience members that come out and support this. Without all of this, all of you, none of this would be possible. We would not be able to continue to host this beautiful event here that we are so honored to continue to host. So, I hope that this Dulcimer Festival continues to bring joy to everyone and puts joy in your hearts as we continue on with this wonderful annual event. Thank you so much for having us here tonight, and enjoy the show.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, don't forget, when you look at all the things Everett does for us, what about our beautiful stage? Let's thank Smith Lumber Company for this. Kind of sturdy. It passes my girth test, so it must have been good lumber. Well, the next we have is an award that is going to be given out to the family of Jeff Allen. He really almost needs no introduction here. Youth and music training for them was one of his prime goals. Such a nice man. And right now, we have Rochelle Bannon, and she will be giving that award to Katie Batter. So let's give a hand for Rochelle Bannon. And here we come. Rochelle? Here we are. Here she comes.
Is she going to be here tonight?
Okay. Here we are. Here is Rochelle.
Thank you. I always say better late than ugly, so here I am. Thank you all for being here, and I'm very honored to be able to present this award and share a few words about a really, really special friend of mine, Jeff Allen. Jeff and I have been playing music together since the early 90s. And we gigged a lot and always met up, of course, at the festivals. And we, for those of you who play music, know that sometimes you meet a musician and you play together and you have this weird psychic connection, right? Where the chemistry is just right and you don't have to talk. You just read each other really well and the music is magical. And it really, really just comes alive. Jeff and I played that way together, and it was such a joy to play with him. And looking back at all the gigs we did and all the middle of the night jam sessions, it will always be hard for me to come to Evart and not see him come around the corner. But he lives on in everything that we do and in the music we play. And when I hammer away, I think about all the jokes and all the nights and all the things we did together, and I'm really excited to be able to have Evart, have the ODPC carry on in Jeff's name, something that he really believed in, and that was sharing music. Jeff was a huge part of the education department for the original Dulcimer Players Club, and he loved to know that somebody else wanted to learn the dulcimer, somebody else wanted to learn an instrument, somebody else wanted to carry on this tradition. And so for that reason, we are doing something very special in Jeff's name, and I'd like to introduce his daughter, Katie Botter. So I'm going to read a proclamation that we're presenting to Katie in the name of her father. I'm going to try really hard not to cry. As of July 14th, 2023 forward, the original Dulcimer Players Club education program shall be known as the Jeff Allen Memorial Education Program. Jeff encouraged and supported new players by being instrumental in the creation of the educational program and managed the program for many years. Jeff was kind and caring and shared his love of the hammer dulcimer and guitar with everyone he met. We are so proud to hand this to you and your family.
Yeah, promised I wasn't going to cry. That didn't happen. On behalf of my family, we really wanted to make sure that everyone here, past, present, future, really has the opportunity to love music the way that my dad did. We have made a donation to the education program so that others can learn the dulcimer, learn the guitar, any instrument they want, and move forward in their future with the love of music. So on behalf of my family, we appreciate everyone here, and I thank you for this. So thank you.
Well, that may be the phone ringing to tell us that there's rain clouds, but those are tears of joy. So, with enough welcome for Jeff Allen, now we are going to turn this over to you, and he is going to introduce this covey of cuties, these mountain dulcimer people. You, so many but a little tired.
Hello. There we go. Okay. Jeff wanted to pass it on, to play it forward, to get everybody to understand the joy of this music and of these instruments. When you walk around the campus here, you see people from all different parts of Michigan and the Midwest, and sometimes places like Maine and other places, Florida, wherever. And they come together and they play music. And they all seem to be able to produce wonderful and beautiful music. And people come with hammer dulcimers and mountain dulcimers. And everybody here, perhaps some of them never see each other except this time of year. But they can bring themselves together and play for you absolutely magnificent music. Anne-Marie has practiced with them only a brief time, but I think you will be absolutely amazed at what this group of musicians can do. Anne-Marie?
Thank you.
Take it away.
Thank you. Fortunately, they have a huge variety of teachers for the mountain dulcimer that we're very thankful for. So from beginner to advanced, everyone has had opportunities to grow in their playing of the mountain dulcimer. So we've been in the kind of the back roads, but now we're going to be right up here in front, and we have 50 people up here today. And as we were doing this, thank you. As we were doing this, I noticed there were probably 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 more out there. And hopefully they will join us because we have chosen next year's songs and we want them to be comfortable to come up and join us. And you can see we didn't quite fit on the stage. So 50 of us, we're going to play 5 songs. Each time I'm going to give them an introduction. We have a guitarist that we got from hand-me-down years. He just kind of appeared and we're glad to have him to help us stay together. And we have a lot of people that have just loved the mountain dulcimer, which is nice and light and easy to throw on their back. So away we go. The first song we're going to play is May the Circle Be Unbroken. We're now going to play a medley of 3 songs. We love fiddle tunes. We like to play along with everybody else. Hammers, mountains, fiddles, banjos, you name it. We're ready to jump in. Most people say, oh, here they come. We can only play in D. That is not true. We can play in multiple keys, and now some people are even getting dulcimers that are chromatic. So they're taking the next challenge, or the next step to play with people. So we're going to play a medley of 3 songs. I'm going to announce each one. The first one is Liza Jane. one more number we'd like to play. It's called Cripple Creek. And we're going to add spoons to it and get a little percussion in there. And thank you to all these Mountain Dulcimer players and all the teachers who now expand our knowledge and our learning and our opportunities to grow in our Mountain Dulcimer. We really appreciate all the people who come out and give us lots of good teaching, lots of good lessons, lots of good jams, lots of good opportunities. And we thank you for supporting the whole opportunity here to share music.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm weaving my way through the crowd. I don't want to get knocked off the stage. I was thinking of just going down there. I don't want to end up down there by any other means. Another big round of applause for these Mountain Dulcimers. Oh. Yay! And I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a distinct improvement in the sound system this year. If you'll notice, there are more speakers, they are better balanced and have a wider range, so you get a much richer sound. You can hear it. It's really great. It showed up in the program last night, and I think that's, Brian and those who purchased all this equipment deserve a big round of applause. And I think Rick Combs had a good deal to do with the selections, but it all works really well, amazingly so. Okay, they will file out, and Thornapple Valley will file in. Thornapple Valley was formed in 1984. A lot of the Dulcimer clubs that we all belong to, whether it's involving Mountain Dulcimers, Hammer Dulcimers, or other folk groups, were formed in the 1970s and the early part of the 1980s. And Thornapple was formed by Stan and Bud Pierce. Now, they haven't been around for a while. Is there anybody here who actually remembers and knew Stan and Bud Pierce? Okay, one person, two, three. Okay, Bud Pierce and Stan were from the big band era, and they brought a rather unique perspective to the playing of music, of folk music. Now, they played all of the tunes that we're all familiar with and that we play in jams, but they also did big band stuff. And back in the 80s, they put out a tape, not commercially, it was a self-published tape. And they had all kinds of amazing big band tunes playing on there. Hammer Dulcimer and bass and guitar. Sounds absolutely fantastic. I happen to have one. If you see one, anything by Stan and Bud Pierce, at a garage sale or any place, buy it, because they were extraordinary musicians. They started the club in 1984 in Nashville, Michigan. And Currently, the club has about 40 to 45 members. It's kind of been that sort of size now for a long time. And I don't know how many of you, if you belong to a club, what the club size is, but 45 people is a pretty darn good size to have gigs, to get together for potlucks, to have regular meetings, and it's enough instruments to make a really strong sound. And we don't have all 45 here tonight. Paula Brody is currently, Paula, are you the president? Okay, Paula's the president of Thornapple Valley, and she's brought them all out here. How many of you do belong to a Dulcimer club in your area? Okay, a few hands. How many of you are here for the first time just to see what it's all about? Great. Yay, yes. That's what we need. These clubs, Silver Strings down in southeastern Michigan, Thornapple Valley, Uncle Carl's, which is around the Marshall area, all were formed in basically the same time frame. And the main idea was to promote the hammer dulcimer and later the mountain dulcimer, to preserve the instrument, preserve the folk music that was played on it. And it all starts right here with the ODPC in 1963. And in 1963, there were dulcimer players who got together from this area. They were already elderly. They had old instruments from their grandparents and parents, and they realized quite well that these musical instruments were dying out. This would have been 1963. 1960s was the Great Folk Revival, and by the 1970s, this whole thing had taken off. There are pictures of this festival in the 1970s with this whole infield packed with people and the whole arena full. Some people in their Sunday best. Really an interesting arrangement. But out of that, a lot of people learned more about the instrument, and a lot of these other clubs formed up. So appreciate the history that whatever club you belong to represents. It's a part of Michigan. It's a real important part of Michigan. I'm just turning around to see what I'm doing here. Sid is the bass man. He keeps them all in line. Oh well. Okay, I saw hands from people who were here for the first time. I could go through the list. How many of you were here last night? Okay, then I'm not going to go over a whole lot of things again. I was going to go over the Yellow Ribbon game, which is going to be Saturday afternoon when we have the historical party for the 60th anniversary. And so I won't go through the thing of, were you here in the 1980s? Did you start in the 1990s? My ribbon says 1989, and there are quite a few people who are still here who started out in the 1970s. As a matter of fact, you will be seeing some of those people on stage tomorrow night. 1970s? 63. Congratulations. Very, very significant. Oops. Nothing like having the MC in the way. The business of setting up a stage for a group and getting it right is really, really amazing. If you don't get it right, then it doesn't sound right, and the group doesn't sound as good as they could. Sound people are incredibly important, and they're underappreciated. So let's get a big hand for these guys who are working around here to get those mics in the right place. When they get it right, the sound man can get it right on his board, and it comes out here exactly as they want to hear it. Okay. Paula, are you going to do the honors? He'll get a mic.
All right, we're going to start with French Girls Waltz, and it was written by Randy Marcheni, who lives down south somewhere. He used to come to the Evart Festival when it was in Hastings in the beginning, and he belonged to a group called No Strings Attached, and he's still playing music, and gave us permission to use his song. Okay. March of St. Tim. And oh, by the way, a shout out to Roger Plaxton up there behind the sound system. We play French Girls Waltz together, and Roger does a fabulous harmony on his fiddle. So, and now he's up there running the sound.
Don't forget to mention Rick Thumb.
Huh? Oh, up there too, Rick. I didn't even see you, Rick. And everybody else up there. Okay. March of St. Tim, written by Judy Morningstar. Okay, our next song is Glory in the Meeting House. I don't know who wrote that, but it's a really cool song. Jim Rathbun has it on YouTube in a teaching video, and which is really helpful. We're going to play Roscoe 3 times and Magpie. So we'll see. timekeeper here. What's it say? 43 seconds. Okay, let's just do shortest to start. 2 times. That ought to do it. Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paula, Mary, Sid, everybody from Thornapple. Wow. Another big round of applause for these guys. Ooh. Okay, just a couple of odd announcements, and then I'll turn things over to Sam. Don't forget, workshops start tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Be there. Vendors start at 10. Go buy stuff. And then tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 6 is the 60th anniversary party in the community center. Paul Goles has put together some absolutely fantastic videos. If you haven't seen them online, go take a look. They're on a big screen in there. And I've been running around. Probably most of you have seen me poking my head into your workshops. And I'm just doing that to annoy you. Distracted instructor. But I haven't had the time to figure out how you play the game with the yellow ribbons. So there's a yellow sheet that has instructions for that. So get all the signatures you can, do whatever you can. You may win, you may already be a winner. Okay. Here we go.
We might be down to the one mic. So, Thornapple Valley by the Hastings area up 66. Not only great music, you can stop in Mooville, get ice cream. Ooh, my favorite. While you're thinking tomorrow, there are still a lot of great workshops. We're in full throw. By the way, open mic tomorrow. We'll be here 2 to 6. That should be a lot of fun. And also, coming up, we are going to have the youth concert, so make sure that's in. And for those who have their yellow ribbons that have their date, if you're playing that, getting the name dates, I happen to know a guy here that's got a date of 2022. See me backstage and we'll talk negotiation for price. So that'll get you a little step ahead. Next, we'll have Larry Unger. We were talking back there. Larry comes, as he says, from Detroit. And I said, oh, I come from Detroit too. Larry says, well, yeah, where? And now we start the banner. Larry actually is what we call a Detroit native. We grew up in Ferndale, and we consider that Detroit because we share the border. Larry says, yeah, it's not like people who say, Birmingham or Grosse Pointe. It's not Detroit. So Larry's Detroit, and then eventually he moved there. He moved to Boston. He's been a full-time musician since 1984. He's performed in the U.S., Canada, Scotland, England, France, Germany, Italy, Denmark, Israel, Afghanistan, and India. He plays guitar, banjo, and bass with many of the top contra dance bands. He also performs solo concerts that include a wide variety of music: fingerstyle blues, slide guitar, rags, old-time banjo tunes, original waltzes, and fiddle tunes. We're also talking, he plays several unusual instruments such as banjo guitar, fretless banjo, trying to dabble a little bit that in myself, and yes, it is unusual. You get used to those frets. They're kind of handy, make life easy. Jaws harp, and he has a piano harp. He will be doing a duet today with Dee Dee Tibbetts on the piano harp. And the marxophone. I hate to ask, is Harpo here? I had to do that. Harpo is gone. So we have no harps, but we do have a marxophone. And Larry's also several compositions and recordings. Many of them have been featured on Ken Burns, and he would also like you to know that there's going to be a new one by Ken Burns called The Buffalo that will also feature Larry Unger on there. He's played for San Obispo Symphony Orchestra, and of course, that most fabulous, renowned of all, the Squirrel's Nest Live. He has several original tunes and CDs out which will be for sale here. We'll get our sound up and we'll hear a lovely duet. I only wish that was so. Compared to you, I am a pale representation. So, yes, I look at a marxophone, and Dee Dee, what is a marxophone?
A marxophone, these are probably 1920s, early 1920s. They were sold door to door, especially in the Midwest. And mine is made by the Marx Brothers, but no Groucho. They repaired instruments for the Chicago Symphony, and they lived in Wisconsin. And then they moved to New Troy, Michigan, and started the Marxochime Company. And this was one of their instruments. They wanted to make things easy for people to play and not hard. So this is easy.
Thank you very much. So, let's have a wonderful round of applause for Larry and Dee Dee.
That's Dee Dee Tibbetts, the one and only. And now Brad is going to come up and play the fiddle with me on that aforementioned tune from the Ken Burns TV show. It's called Two Rivers. Okay. That's Brad Betty. And now, I'm on my own, I guess. So I'll do a guitar. I was playing a little bit of a Blind Boy Fuller blues guitar piece, and I kind of mixed it up and throw in some Etta Baker licks and put some of my stuff in. So I have maybe a new tune. Here. First time ever played. I don't know what it's called. The Funfest Stomp, maybe. I don't know. If it works out, I'll call it that. Okay, here it goes. Thanks much. I didn't know how to stop it. Okay, for the next 3 minutes and 39 seconds, I'm going to play a tune about the lost gander. This is a Kentucky banjo tune, and I first heard Mike Seeger play it, and it's kind of atmospheric, the lost gander. Oh, and thanks so much. It's great to be here, and everyone, all the acts are really good, and the stage people, everything is great. So, and my classes, thanks to everybody. Great to be back again. Thanks, everybody.
Test 1, 2. Okay, thank you. They were thinking it didn't work.
How about a big hand for Larry Unger? You know, when you hear somebody like that play, I get this undeniable urge to know that I need to practice more. Just go, and then you look at your case and go, that may not sound the same. Do it anyway. Okay. Well, and some of the other things we want to do, if you have passed by the ODPC office, I know you all have your red and yellow ribbons, so that means you paid. Now, if you haven't registered with ODPC, you're actually part of the club, we just may not know it. We want to track you down like the dogs you are, and we can only do that if you stop in at the tent at the front booth. You may have seen me there with my campaign hat yesterday, getting people over there so we could get you all signed in. But that gives us a directory, and we're amazed. We've had a lot of new people. The club is growing, and that is good. So that's worked out really well for us. Again, remember our youth concert, so that will be coming up, open mic. By the way, is there anybody here who runs an open jam? For all those who run an open jam here at Evart, whether you hold the ukulele jam that we held pre-season here, Monday through Wednesday, that'd be Harriet, I believe. Whether you're Mary Cogan, who runs a lot of the jams just in the other room, thank you very much, because that's what gives us all the opportunity to what? Pull up a chair, open a case, throw out, call out a tune, call out the key, and get new people into playing. That's the way to get people to play, is do what? Nice jams, get them out there, get them to play. Okay? I will now turn you over to you.
And I think this, oh, it's working. You were having trouble with this microphone a few minutes ago, and it seems to be okay. Ilace Mears. How many of you have heard Ilace play at other venues? Yes. I remember the first time I ever heard Ilace Mears play, and that was, I believe, at the Buckeye Dulcimer Festival. And she brought a little tune I'd never heard before called Roscoe. And she said that it was her life's mission to spread Roscoe across the country. Given what happened with Thornapple here just a few minutes ago, I think she succeeded. It's a neat tune. 2016 National Hammer Dulcimer Champion. She brings, but wait, there's more. Fantastic musician. She has a classical training in violin and piano, which gives her a perspective that most of us folkies don't really have, which informs her arranging and her playing and makes it absolutely amazing. She plays fiddle tunes with enthusiasm, hymns with joy, Celtic because it's in her bones, Bach and Gershwin, where appropriate. And if you've ever heard some of her programs, like her Christmas programs on YouTube, they're really wonderful. She has CDs, one of which is called Peace Like a River, and the quote here is, it's guaranteed to lower your blood pressure by at least 10 points. My primary care physician would love that. I can get off a statin. Ilace, do you have CDs and books available here? Okay. For you, or the vendors have them?
I'm a vendor.
That's right, she's a vendor. Shows you what I do. I've been spending the last 2 days poking my head into every workshop in the place, so I don't otherwise know what's going. John Keane is here, and he's going to be playing along with Ilace. Ilace, I will turn it over to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. It's delightful to see so many of you. I've seen so many familiar faces and so many unfamiliar, friendly faces, and a few grouches, but we'll let that go. It's been fun. So I know that many of you know John Keane. He and Karen are hammer dulcimer masters, and Native American flute people, and all kinds of other interesting things, and John's going to demonstrate that for you in a minute. Few people know that we actually grew up close to each other in Louisiana, Arkansas, went to the same college at different times, know all the same people, and now he lives about 15 minutes from me in Southwest Missouri. I was there first.
One exit away.
And introducing to you, Larry Unger. Who has graciously agreed to play also on the first tune. Okay, remember the part about classical training and all that? Okay, we're gonna start with the pig ankle rag.
Classic.
In a minute. Okay, 24, countdown, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 0. Okay, there's this toothpick up here on the stage. Whose is it? Play with them. We'll get there. Thanks. So, I'm going to address next what keeps musicians up at night, what keeps us awake in the wee hours. And Carole King and Jerry Goffin said it best. They said something. Tonight, you're mine completely. You give your love so sweetly. The light of love is in your eyes, but will you still love me tomorrow? Thanks, you can wake up now. In honor of my 6th great-grandfather, Patrick Harris, who left County Donegal in 17-something and sailed for the New World, here are 2 Irish tunes. One is Stray Away Child. For those of you who are form fanatics, here's the scheme. AA, BB, CC, DD, EE, FF. It's short. I'll follow that with another tune called Sergeant Early's Dream. I understand it's normally played as a really quick and rousing reel, but not by me. Thank you. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me come. It's so much fun. Thanks to the folks who are taking my classes. It's been delightful to see you all. And thanks for the board who's putting this whole thing together and does all the work. Thank you for the sound people and the stage people and everybody all around, hug the people next to you. So. My last tune is by request, and it's something we all need a little bit more of. It is Well With My Soul.
Thank you, Alice. Ah, my blood pressure is at least 10 points lower. That was absolutely beautiful. Another big round of applause for Alice. And if you get a chance, check her booth out, get her CDs, go to her workshops. She is good. And now I'm going to turn this over to Sam. You have your mic.
Yeah, it's like the batons here today. So far, we're running a mic relay race and the baton. Hopefully, there'll be no mic drops. You know, that was a wonderful tune, and as she sings that, or plays that, remember the cable back to William Spatafor from his wife, all lost, I alone survived. And from that, he wrote it as well with my soul. Stirring story. Well, Bill Bosler is here. I had a chance to sit there and talk with him backstage. And it was kind of funny. I said, well, how do you get to be a percussionist, to be a hammer dulcimer guy? And he said, well, you know, in about 1985, I was singing in a quartet. And one of the gals who was there said, you know what, I've got something you can pound on to make music. Only a percussionist say this. And so while I'm sitting down back there, minding my own business, looking at Dan, our cajon man there's Bill walking around with his sticks, and he walks up to this little go-kart thing. That seat was there minding its own business. He takes those sticks and he starts beating on the seat. Now that's gotta be a percussionist. Then he just starts walking around, beating everything with those sticks. So he may be a whiz on the hammer dulcimer, but the urge to pound things still runs in his soul. He's been a percussionist since childhood, tapping on things his whole life. I can vouch for that. He's taken percussive rhythms and focused on both original melodies as well as unique, inspirational, and traditional popular tunes. Playing Celtic, old-timey tunes, he's created his own tunes leading to his self-titled first solo record. He's also recorded a well-recognized CD with Kevin Lockhart called Waterbound. He's since provided track for other recording artists on both hammer dulcimer and percussion. He can also be seen live in the northern Indiana and southern Michiana area. We're going to get a sound set up for him. We have a couple cable issues, and then he has quite a group of people to play. Again, the percussionist, you can see, he likes to beat. I always feel a little bit like a remora fish as a guitar player with the hammer dulcimers. Let's see. You can sit there, you guys play the melody on time, clear, clean. For the guitar guys, we just sit up there. It's like being on the Muskegon River, headed downstream. Just every once in a while, we got to paddle a little bit. After that, it's all gravy. So for all you hammer dulcimers, thank you very much for all that you do. And let's see. Are we set? Okay. Our sound guys are doing some troubleshooting. Let's see, don't forget visit your vendors tomorrow. As they said, if you want to buy that hammer dulcimer, don't leave. You'll never be able to get the one you want if you're going to go now. So, remember, cash, credit, Visa, check. Firstborn male child will work if they're here. If not, just birthplace where they are and can be found. That will work too. A lot of great mountain dulcimers out there. From a ukulele guy, they have 4 strings. They might actually work.
DI3 in the monitor.
Better butter? Bill Bosley. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
very much. That one is one I just kind of created about a month ago. Call it Thumper, because I couldn't think of what else to call it. And my wife talked me into opening with that, so. That's her. All right, so this next one is also an original tune. It's one that I've played here a number of times, and you'll hear it now and then in some of the jams, which just warms my heart. It's called Sanibel Sunset. Thank you. So this is beyond a real pleasure for me. Always to be up here and to play for you guys. It's always nerve-wracking because I know there's plenty of hammer dulcimer players out there and you hear all my notes wrong. But for this year, I got this horde of wonderful musicians behind me. I'm going to take a minute to introduce them. Anchoring the back row, also anchoring the squirrel's nest, we have Ken Kaiser and Lynn Ellen Kaiser, bass and guitar. And on mountain dulcimer, Sharon Broyles, also known as Dulcimer by Sharon, if you're looking for a trainer in the Chelsea area. International auto harp champion, Les Gustafsson-Zook. And somebody who I heard just kind of walking by playing these sweet fiddle tunes with us is Nicole Testa. Trust me. So speaking of fiddle tunes, we're going to play a couple here. And this first one, I picked the tunes this year based on title, because, they all sound the same, right? This one's Old Yeller Dog Goes Strolling Through the Meeting House. Next up is Grasshopper Sitting on a Sweet Potato Vine, also picked by the name. Well, we got one more, and you've heard it a few times, but not our way. This one is Ragtime Man. Thank you very much.
This is a public service announcement. Thank you, Bill Baxler. By the way, Bill Bosler has BillBosler.com. So you can always check that. And as a public service announcement, check the person next to you. If they weren't tapping your toes through this set, check for a pulse. Make sure that they're okay. Another round for Bill Bosler, please.
This is on. It works. No, it seems like the one that one of us is using works, and then the next person takes it, and it doesn't work, but then the other one works. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll just stand here and project. Dan Levenson. Well, that kind of tells it all. I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm going to read a little bit from the information that I have here. Dan is extraordinary, and you all know it. And if you've ever been to his workshops, that he makes the playing seem sensible and effortless. And when you try to do it yourself, yeah, it does work, but it takes practice. Dan Levenson is an tongue twister, Appalachian native who has grown up with the music of the region. Today he is considered a respected master teacher and performer of the clawhammer banjo and Appalachian-style fiddle. And Fiddler's Magazine has called him an accomplished fiddler and one of the best clawhammer banjo players in the country. Ken Perlman refers to him as the Johnny Appleseed of the banjo. I guess that means that when he finishes here tonight, we're all going to want to go out and buy a banjo. Sound check. Eight recordings, 14 Mel Bay publications. If you're looking for Dan Levenson and you can't find him, you just aren't looking. Whoa. Okay, gentlemen, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Dan Levenson, Paul Goles, and Rick Thumb.
is called Flat on the Frog. It's a Michigan tune, Don't Laugh Too Hard, written by Johnny Michael Savage in about 1979. He had a truck with a Ford with a D that didn't stay up, and he called it the Frog. I got that this year, and Greg and Lorraine, who live out with me in Tucson, Arizona now, told me the whole story because they got it from Dave, what's his name? Dave? Where you at, Dave? Here at the park. Your own old-time fiddler. I just forget names, I apologize. But Dave's here, you can ask him more about it, and Johnny might have been here, but we don't know. The other tune is called Cups and Mugs, and it was written by Sammy Bremen of the Onlys, aka the Rug Lifters, on stage while they were playing another tune. She just went into the other tune. She was bored playing what she was playing. Those are the tunes we'll be teaching tomorrow. I'll be teaching at the workshop. So if you want to learn how to play them for yourself, a little more sedately, I understand. We will go through it phrase by phrase. 1 o'clock tomorrow in Building 11. I have the pleasure of coming here every year for many years until, about 10 years, and COVID got in the way, and then got to come back last year and rejoined with Paul and Rick. You know, this is Rick Thumb. I know he's incognito because he's behind a guitar and not with a white shirt. Thank you. And I think we might have first met here, Paul too, and we sort of reunite to continue our conversation every year about this time. And the reason we do it is because you all come here to play and enjoy the music and be part of the show. Because without you, we could be in our living room. It's much more fun to have you here with us. So any reactions you have, let them go. There's plenty of dance spaces on both sides of the stage. So, this next piece, it's another medley of 2 pieces, Washington's March, which comes from the playing of Ed and Hammond's, and Dry and Dusty, which a lot of you play, but the tuning of the fiddle, and I digress, this fiddle was built for me one of my first years at Evart by Elin Howe. This is number 10 from Elin Howe. Is Elin up there? He was going to come over here. He's here this year for the first time, isn't he? I was showing it to somebody's daughter who was ready for their next fiddle but wasn't old enough to buy it themselves, and their parents weren't going to buy it for them. And when I played, I said, by the way, when you go to find an instrument, you play every instrument you can find. Just play them. It doesn't matter how much or what. And I played this one, and I went, because I already had 3 fiddles. So I found its tuning. In your instruments and fiddle cases, find their tunings. We retune for different tunings. And one of the oldest tunings is this. D-Dad, we call it. Dead man tuning, otherwise known as lap dulcimer tuning, if you think about it. Tunes like the waltz, Midnight in the Water. Well, you don't play lap dulcimer. Oh, I see. Sorry. But we play this with a bow, so it's a bowed lap dulcimer. Oh, okay. Lay a banjo on your lap in double C tuning, play tunes, and they will run. Okay. 1. probably ought to be worried about this next tune. There was a group of Pennsylvania sharpshooters back during the war, way back, Revolutionary War, to go help the Cincinnati people save Cincinnati from the Confederates. They were called the Squirrel Hunters.
So if you're wearing a red t-shirt, beware.
And the only other introduction that it needs is the one I got from John Hartford. This is Squirrel Hunters. Tune this to A cross, sometimes called the Italian tuning, to play a favorite tune of all of ours, I think, the Sandy Boys. Originally an 1850s banjo tune, made popular in the 1940s by Eden Hammonds, later by Burl Hammonds. And I try and play it as much like Eden as I can, because as you can tell, I kind of tend to get carried away.
We wish.
card so you know who I am. Thank you again. Thank you, Evert.
Let's hear one more round of applause for Dan Levenson, Paul Bolts, and Ruth Dunn. Wow. We weren't quite dancing back there behind that board, but it was close. And now, I'm going to turn it back over to Sam for the next act.
Well, you wasn't kidding. There was a lot of dancing going back on there. Brian and I, we almost had a clogging exhibition out here, but we thought better of it. So, Ruth and Steve Smith are going to be here, and we had a chance to talk to them, but we're going to read straight from the biography. Steve and Ruth Smith from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina have been performing their music for, and he corrected, 48 years, extensively from North Carolina to Hawaii and abroad in Scotland, England, Japan, Korea, Philippines, Hong Kong, Thailand, Australia, New Zealand, Tonga, and Canada. Both are prolific composers and songwriters. Ruth writes dynamic and gentle instrumental music, especially for the hammer dulcimer. Steve is an ASCAP award-winning songwriter of the Dulcimer Player News, which says, Steve is a master storyteller with a perfect vocalist to convey the meaning of his lyrics. His song stands out for their imagery, melodic melody, and strength on a par with John Denver's song. Steve and Ruth have a new single out called Farewell to Peter, along with their other music, and you can get that at www.steveandruth.com. So the real news is, you always have to get the real skinny. I mean, there's what they print, and then there is the real deal. They have just celebrated their anniversary at the Kentucky Music Festival about a week ago. They have come back from touring Japan, which they have done for years. And he also informed us that for 14 years, they've been doing a duet class here, where they start with a guitar and hammer dulcimer, and then they combine them. And they'll be having the same class tomorrow from 12 to 2.
Right. First hour, I take the guitar players, she takes the dulcimer players. We learn the tune. Second hour, we get back together.
Now, if you're a guitar player and a hammer dulcimer, that's the place to be. So, Ruth and Steve Smith.
Thank you, thank you. It's great to be back here again with our Evart family. And speaking of family, we're going to start with one that I wrote to honor my mom on one of her birthdays. She was a very cheerful, happy person who always looked forward to the good in life, and her name was Jessie May. And so I wrote this to honor her. We call it Jessie May.
Thank you.
It's pretty obvious when we play a song or tune which one of us wrote it. That's Ruth. Next what we're going to do is by request. We debuted it here last year, and for those of you that don't remember it or tried to forget it, first of all, we live up on Snake Mountain in the Blue Ridge Mountains, North Carolina, and we have a little gravel road that goes down to our house from another gravel road up, and that's where our mailboxes are. And one day we were leaving in our truck, and neighbors went by and yelled out, "There's maters in your mailbox!" And there were tomatoes in the mailbox.
Yes, tomatoes are maters around our house.
Yeah, where we're from. And Ruth looked at me and she goes, "Boy, there's a song." So here's the song I wrote. What do you guess the title is? Maters in the Mailbox. Maters in the mailbox, pole beans on the porch, folks just being neighborly, they'll always bring us more. When summer gardens all come in, there's taters, peas, and corn. Some are really nice zucchini just a-sitting by our door. Well, the neighbors help us put up hay in the hot, hot summer sun. Put a watermelon in the creek, so it's cold when work is done. We'll wash it down with sweet tea, homemade ice cream by the ton. Start picking tunes and telling tales, country folk just having fun. Maters in the mailbox mean more than words can say. Maters in the mailbox, neighbors way of saying hey. So be a neighbor to your neighbor each and every day. Like maters in the mailbox, it's the good old country way. When weather deals a heavy blow, washing the road away, we'll still be here together to find another day. We'll be just fine, of course, you know, no limbs will block our drive. With neighbors helping neighbors, country folk always survive. And your grass won't need a cut if you've taken to the bed. A neighbor always comes along and nothing's ever said. Now you can just return the favor when trouble comes his way. 'Cause that's the way it's done round here, never taking any pay. Maters in the mailbox mean more than words can say. Maters in the mailbox, neighbors way of saying hey. So be a neighbor to your neighbor each and every day. Like maters in the mailbox, it's the good old country way. There's maters in the mailbox, the good old country way. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ruth always tells people when we meet new folks, she says, "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say might and probably will end up in one of Steve's songs." So